Hey guys, I had some requests for ankle flexibility and ankle mobility exercises. So I'm going to give you 5 or 6 that I love and I use all the time. So hope you enjoy them. So the first one we're going to do is what we call a hostage fly. You're on your knees like a hostage about to be executed. First position we want to do, we're going to start on the ball of feet. This is just a warm-up, and the reason we do it on ball of feet first is we want to get a load-bearing stretch on the Achilles tendon and the calf, because these tend to cramp in the full version of the hostage fly. So we place our balls of feet down firmly. What we want to do is bring our tailbone under, so we curl that under and up. We engage our legs by pulling them outward, as if we had an elastic band around our thighs. We were trying to keep that taut. So tailbone is up and under, thighs are pulling out, thighs are engaged. Body's as straight as we can be, chin is down, crown is elongated, and we go within reason. Nothing crazy. We just lean back and we move forward. You're going to feel that primarily in the base of the quadricep, just above your knees. Keep your body nice and straight. No need to gas yourself on these too much, but you will feel a huge difference if you go back an extra ½ inch or inch. If you need to counterbalance with the hands, you can. If you need to work close with your feet touching the wall so that you can use the wall as a measure that you touch your head against, feel free to do all those. Phase 2, we're going to place our feet like this. So again, you can have them a little bit inward if you wish, or parallel if you're able. What we want to do again, we're on the laces on the instep, tailbone's under, and we bring it back, pulling those legs gently out, leaning back, feeling it throughout the whole base of your quadriceps, but it's also conditioning your heels, as you see, to roll outwards. You see at first they're buoyant and quite loose. When we get to that point, there's a huge amount of load on the legs. So that's variation 2 of the hostage fly. Variation 3, we're going to start in the exact same position on the instep, except we're going to place out the other foot on the heel. So we're stacking our body up. And so what we do in this position, we're nice and strong. You'll lean back a little bit less here, and you're isolating that on one leg. You want to be careful when we do the work not to let our body twist away or too much towards the support. So we try to stay as flush as we can relative to our toe. Our aligned toe in line with the shoulder and going back. The 3 variations of the hostage fly. Those are fantastic for a general warm-up of the base of the quad, and they're putting a good amount of strain on the ankle. Next thing we're going to do from a kneeling position is we're going to just lift up one knee and find our balance. If you need a hand on the floor, by all means do it. If you want to add some pull, you can do this as well. What matters most here, and this will be important throughout all of the remainders, is that our foot can be thought of as having 2 facets. The first created by the big toe, as if the big toe extended all the way up the bridge of the foot. The second being created by the other 4 toes going up. So when we do this type of work, what we're trying to do is stay on the outer 4 toes and not on the big toe. If we go on the big toe, what happens is the pinky toe and perhaps second and third toe aren't on the ground, and it puts tremendous strain along the line of the instep and even into the shin. When we rotate out, it's far more comfortable. So in actual fact, when I do this, my big toe is somewhat free on the inside. And I had a reconstructive surgery on my big toe in my early 20s from a training accident. So that entire phalange doesn't bend. It's one solid piece of metal. So it's good fortune in a way, because if I put too much stress on the back of the knuckle, I feel it right away. So it really wants to be on the outer 4, and I have no issue on this. So again, when you're lifting up, you're not in line on the big toe like this, but rather you're tucked under, like a proper Japanese seiza, kneeling position, and I lift up and I stretch. From that position, we can start working with both, so we can have our hands on the floor. If need be, we can push away from a wall, lifting up one, lifting up the other. It's your choice, but finding your counterbalance, seeing how much weight you can rest on that. You can put a Pilates ball or a small medicine ball underneath your knees as well, a pillow, anything you have, a slow-moving cat, whatever. Prop up your knees and rest there. From that position, if it becomes comfortable, now what we're going to look to do is an ankle spiral, ankle screw. So from here, I'm taking that knee a little bit to the side, so I'm well on those outer 4 toes. And as I rotate, I'm going around my big toe. So I'll try to lift up so you can see it. I'm going around the big toe, arriving on the ball. When I go back, I'm going around the big toe, on the 4, arriving on the instep. So that work can be done in any kind of position to teach the ankle how to collapse without injury. Do that on both sides. Again, I avoid the big toe. Big toe is up, and I pivot around the periphery of the foot. So if I feel that now from this position, I can start doing that as I bear load on it. My legs are both starting in one position. My rotating leg will arrive at a 90-degree position. If you're familiar with Aikido or Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, Shiko, or warrior walking, often comes from this type of a movement, so it's quite similar to that. You can work up here again using a Swiss ball or a wall or a chair for balance, but you can start to look at how you can flip up. From there, how you can flip around and down. Around the 4 outer toes from there. So, those are some good ones. Another one that we take from Russian Sistema is knee circles. Knee circles basically begins with us in a seiza position, and we begin just gently sagging to one side, basically bringing one heel into the middle of the buttocks. Start off in that position. I bring one heel into the middle of the buttocks, and I gently roll off. I can use my arm, keeping it within the frontal plane, and stretch over to open up the ribs, open up my lateral obliques a bit. I can work both sides as a acclimatization to the position. And I can also work front to back, bringing my sternum back and arching forward. And as I arch forward, I want to roll both of my scapula together. So my scapula are going together, powering that stretch open. So I have those 4 directions. And then what ends up happening is I can go forward, back, left, and right. We can do this as a rotation. Back, left, forward, side. This motion from the thorax is what's going to be powering our movement. And so now at first we can use our hands on the floor. I think if my feet is barely moving, I sag and I sit, and I bring my feet up to a resting position. I can return, sag, and sit. It is best to work that one piece at a time. Roll to the side, sag, and sit. Roll to the side, from the sag to the sit. Then I can work this in a circle, using my hands for support and keeping my feet relatively tethered in the center. So if you look at the demand being placed on your ankles, constantly screwing through that range of motion. And then finally, using that mobility to fuel. When I need to come up, I need to pop that. It also helps expunge your breath reactively. Compressing, exhaling, inhaling on the open. So those are knee circles. The final variation, a really, really good exercise. We start just in like a hurdler stretch. We did this quite a bit on my section on YouTube on giant steps, which is a good tutorial if you haven't seen it. But we begin behind our leg, behind our foot, sitting on the floor, lift our body up onto the foot, and in the giant step tutorial, we went past and screwed the ankle over like this into a hurdler stretch. What we're going to do today is we're just going to stay on. So we're going to go from behind to on. Just going to acquire that comfort. And from the on position, we're going to look now, variation of that gear shift exercise we did before. I just lift up that foot, getting a nice deep stretch through the ankle. If that's comfortable, I can put it back down and look at just gently lifting here, and then even finding my balance. Finding my balance just on the instep. So all of this work is fantastic for the ankle. Again, I start behind, I sit on, leg is extended, find my balance, and I lift up that knee. So I'm entirely resting on the outer blade of my instep. And from there, the last variation, guys, we're going to do is a twisted get up or a leg braid get up. From this position, we're looking basically to roll onto the sole of the foot from the blade. And so we can begin using the free leg extended, almost like the barrel of a cannon on a tank. Just moves to help us. Once that gets comfortable, we can let the leg be bent and less involved. Always moving from the blade to the sole. And then the goal is to go from that position, that resting position, get onto the sole and be able to support your weight here. So that all of you is on that foot. Again, I'm here, finding my balance. Here, finding my balance. And once that becomes comfortable, we can play with that leg being extended. We can play with that leg being clasped. And then work our way through an entire spectrum of exercises here. Finding your balance, working into pistols, whatever the case may be. So some good ones: ankle strength, ankle flexibility. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just let me know.